What's up, Will?
Hey.
Cool. Today in The Gold and the Grits, I have a really cool guest. His name is Will Driscoll. He's 27 years old, and right now he works on a ranch in Norris, where here we are right now. He is the assistant foreman at this ranch. But before he moved to Montana from Virginia, he moved initially to Colorado, and then to Idaho, and then now here in Montana, just a cowboy. He's well known on Instagram for his brand partnerships with a bunch of really cool brands, which I don't know if we should name. Probably not, because they're not sponsoring us, so probably not.
Yeah.
That's right. And he has a really funny sense of humor. All of his posts I always crack up at. And now he's launching his own brand called Lonesome West, which we're going to hear more about in a little bit. But thank you for coming, Will.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I guess we came here, but
thanks for having me regardless.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. So, kind of like I just said, you're originally from Virginia. What kind of spurred internally in you to want to move out west to cowboy?
Yeah, so I went from Virginia to Mississippi.
Okay, I missed one, sorry.
To go to school for engineering. And I hated Mississippi a lot. Apologize to anybody from Mississippi. And I hated engineering. So I just wanted to complete change. And I had gone out to Colorado with my family quite a bit growing up to go skiing. So
like Vail Aspen area?
Yeah, like Breckenridge.
Cool.
Yep. And yeah, so I just moved out there. Ended up volunteering on at a place that taught kids how to ride horses. And I was like, I should go work on a ranch.
Had you ridden horses before then?
A little bit. So I grew up dairy farming. On my best friends owned a dairy. So I knew I liked agriculture, and I knew that I never wanted to work on a dairy farm again. But they had horses, so we would not very well, but we'd just hop on them and have fun.
Ride around?
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, just one thing led me to another, and couldn't be happier.
The Idaho ranch you worked on, it's pretty well known.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Was that kind of where you were like, okay, I kind of want to work on a different type of ranch, or how did that lead you to Montana?
Yeah, so it was pretty funny. So that ranch was in this little town called May, Idaho, and the closest big town was Missoula, and the grass was all cured out and brown in Idaho, and we come into Montana. I think they call it the banana belt of Montana. And it was all green and beautiful. And we get into Missoula and everyone's beautiful. And I was like, I'm gonna have to move to Montana. So
the grass and the girls, you're that will do it.
Most of the grass, but yeah.
That's so funny.
It was, yeah.
That's really cool. So obviously you work on a ranch here, and it's hard work.
Yeah.
How do you make time for your own business endeavors and your own brand partnerships, and how do you balance the two?
Yeah, it's difficult. It's really difficult. So the whole Lonesome West thing came about. I was working for a horse trainer in Colorado, and I was living in this 200 square foot, no kitchen, nothing. And I just had a lot of time to myself. And yeah, one thing led to another. So that's how it got started. And then.
Because you were lonesome and you were out west.
Exactly. And, but now, yeah, it's get off of work at, between 6 and 9 o'clock and just put my head down and try to, crank little things out day by day. Fail a lot,
How did you get started with the whole, I hate the word content creation, but it kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
I feel there's a lot of people that are watching that kind of maybe want to know, maybe have similar interests, or hey, that's a cool thing. How do I get into that? How'd you start out?
Yeah, so I got really lucky. That ranch I was working at in Idaho was super unique. And like we lived on the range out of teepees and bedrolls, like riding 15 hours a day. And one of my best friends, Matt, is a professional videographer. And the first year we worked there, he would just take a ton of videos and post it, and he did really well. And through that, I got like a trickle down effect, you know?
Yeah, because you're the one in the videos. Yeah.
And then, so the second year we went back, I started taking some or like posting some that Matt took. And yeah, it was just a really unique place and a really unique time because that was like simultaneous with Yellowstone.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah.
Perfect storm.
It was the perfect storm.
People were like all of a sudden intrigued about Western life. You were posting about it.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, sick. Follow.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, it was cool.
That's awesome. That's good timing for that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to hear like an interesting or entertaining, whatever, ranch story or like a story about, it could be like the Idaho stuff or it could be here. Like, what's the
Just
day
like
in the life or even just your favorite story to tell? Doesn't have to be your favorite.
I've got a lot. Let's see. I would say, I was just telling this one yesterday. At that place in Idaho, Alder Spring, so we're like, you know, it's 70 square miles of wilderness. There's nobody else up there. We're like 2 hours off the main road by truck on like a 2-track. And I was going to, there was a rattlesnake in front of the herd and I was riding up front. And it was kind of on this like steep side hill, right? And so I got off my horse. I apologize if this is like...
No, it's okay. We're here for it.
Killing rattlesnakes is bad. But
no, it's not.
So I got off to kill this rattlesnake so it didn't strike one of the cows, you know,
That's
or
smart.
somebody's horse or whatever. It was on this steep side hill and I stepped off and it was a little farther down than I thought. So I fell and my foot got hung up in the stirrup.
Your horse took off.
She was really good. She just started backing up really slowly. But this rattlesnake was, no, she was scared. So this rattlesnake was like coiled up like right here. And I'm just like getting drugged by this horse, like right by it. Didn't bite me. So I like just pick up this rattlesnake with a stick, put it somewhere very safe. And now I wouldn't say I'm a rattlesnake lover by any means, but
so you didn't kill it, you just moved it?
I just moved it, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good story.
All right, I got some more stories. Let's see. In Wyoming, I was working for this guy. His name is Grant Gallagher. He's like a legend in the whole horse world. Super cool dude. We were riding colts on this guy's Forest Service allotment looking for pairs. And we were on that like type of trail, you know, where you're like leaning back like this because it's so steep. And there's like, you know, this much room. And we're riding. I'm already scared because like we're on colts. And next thing I know, we don't even hear it coming. This grizzly bear just like is like busting down trees, comes barreling in front of us. I get bucked off.
Because you're on a colt.
Yeah. Grant, being like the magician he is, stays on, you know, totally fine.
Did his horse freak out?
Yeah, his horse freaked out, but he stayed on. I didn't. I was not so lucky. The bear kept going. My horse took off. Grant like ran the horse down.
You're just standing there?
Yeah, with this bear that's like.
I was gonna say, did you have a gun at least?
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Mm-hmm. So grizzlies in front of you, you're like bucked off your horse. How did you land when you got bucked off?
On my back.
Ooh.
That's like the crazy thing with getting bucked off. I feel like it makes no sense to me how people don't get more hurt every time. But yeah.
Until they do, and they're like,
Yeah,
oh.
I got pretty hurt like 6 months ago.
What happened?
I was actually I was trying to buy a horse, right? And they were like, yeah, come test him out. Whatever. And I was like, all right, cool. So I drive there. They're like, yeah, he's a little green. But like, you don't have anything to worry about. I was like, oh, cool. And so I like lunge him around for a second and just hop up like he's, like a little green, not like he's gonna try to kill me.
Yeah.
And the second I like swing my leg over, this horse starts bucking. Mm-hmm. I'd like to think I stayed on for a while, but
when you're getting bucked off, 10 seconds is a long time.
Yeah.
You're like, oh.
And my head came down as the horse's head came up, and so I like hit my head and fell off backwards. And as I was coming over the back of the horse, it kicked me.
Oh, God.
In the pelvis. So I tore my labrum. Yep. Tore my labrum and fractured my pelvis.
But you're still riding and working.
Mm-hmm. Now I am a little like, before that I was like, oh yeah, like.
Not scared.
Give me the horses that buck. Well, maybe not, but like, I was
the green broke.
whatever.
I got it.
Yeah, no problem. Now I'm like, which I have a horse now that we'll go see.
The blue eye one?
Yeah.
What's that one's name?
Rez. Fitting.
Is that where you bought him from?
No, I bought him from the BLS horse sale, loose, which is really dumb.
It's not, especially after working with people you have, it's not dumb, but it takes a lot more work than people think.
Yeah, but so like the people I bought him from, we might have to cut this part out because he follows me on Instagram, but he just straight up lied to me and was like,
well, horse people lie.
Yeah.
Especially selling a horse, they lie.
Yeah, he was like, I've roped off this horse. I've roped bulls on him. Like my uncle that just had back surgery, like rides him. I was like, oh, what a deal. Like, this horse is
deal
awesome.
Of the year.
Yeah, and then I get him out here and I tie him up and I like turn around, throw a saddle on him. I was like, all right, cool. Walk off, turn around. He's like upside down. My saddle is like getting slammed on the fence. So that was like my first indication that like, oh no.
His uncle did not ride him.
Yeah. And then I like, with other horses, he's not bad. He definitely has been ridden and trained. But like I'll go to ride him by myself, which is the worst. And we'll be at like a trot and then he just stops and starts bucking. Okay. And then we go again and then he stops and starts bucking.
Do you one rein stop at all? Mm-hmm. Doesn't help?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just kind of mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You come across those horses that just like, it takes a long time to like get them to where you want them to be. It takes forever sometimes.
Yeah. And I'm the type of person that like, I like love animals. That's why I got into ranching. Mm-hmm. It's because like, horses, cows, not sheep, are like my favorite things in the world.
Just throw that in there.
So I have a hard time being like,
You're like, he's kind of bad. Yeah. Like even saying that's hard. Mm-hmm. Right. So you have another horse.
Beaver.
Yeah. And he's great. He's squared away now?
Yeah. I love Beaver.
Did you buy him pretty squared away or did it take some time?
Yeah. She's
a mare.
Mm-hmm. She's like the most merry mare in the world. Yeah. Like when we go in to like say hey to her, she's going to run away.
Ears pinned back.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah. Like, but I love that.
And I kind of like that too.
Yeah. But like once you catch her, she's like solid.
Steady and solid.
Solid.
How old is she?
She does buck too.
You like bucking? You should have
really
gone to
don't.
the bucking horse
like
sale and bought you one.
cheap horses. And that's usually what comes with it.
Yeah.
Uh, She's 11.
Okay. That's a good age. That's so cool. Beaver and Rez. I love that. I could hear probably more stories about your horses, but we'll move forward.
Yeah.
That question's silly. I'm going to skip it. I'm like, why did I write that? I guess since you just said you love animals, you love this lifestyle, do you see yourself doing this long term?
I do and I don't. So like, yeah, I love it. I've never had a job that I've loved more, or that, it never feels like work. Some days. Some days do feel like work. But yeah, in a way, I'll keep doing this forever.
But maybe in like a more updated or like way you like better. Yeah,
it's I think like ranching and cowboying is one of those things that like gets like in your soul, that I didn't plan on doing it this long, and I'm still here. But like, super long days, not much money. So in that sense, that's kind of why
you started your brand.
Started that brand, which I'll go into as well, because it's not the full reason I started it. But so I want to own my own ranch.
I was going to ask, do you see yourself like having your own ranch?
Yeah, that's the end goal.
Would you do cattle? Probably not sheep.
Definitely not sheep, but I do. Yeah, I'd have some lambs around for sure. I do. Yeah, cattle and horses.
That's so cool. I was going to ask what name you wanted to do, but we'll keep that secret until you register it, because we don't want someone stealing your brand. That's so cool. Do you see yourself out west still, like in Montana or another state?
Yeah, I love back east. Like that's home, and that's, I think it's beautiful, but there's something about the West that also like
steals your heart.
Yeah, gets down in you.
It is different. And even the winters that are hard, like there's still something beautiful about it. And like, you can look around and go to the gas station or grocery store and see people that like live here, have forever. Like Josh, my videographer producer, is a 6th gen Montanan. And it's like,
that's really cool.
There's a reason people stay, and there's a reason people like get through the winters, and it almost makes you like respect this country more. Yeah.
And it like, I appreciate the warm weather now more than ever before.
Our 3.5 months of warmth.
Yeah.
Maybe, sometimes 3.
Don't say that.
I'm sorry. It's the truth.
Yeah.
No, it is special. Even the winters though. You're kind of like, I kind of even love this.
Yeah, some days.
Yeah, well, I'm not out there riding for 12 hours in the snow. I'll go ride for 2 or 3, but not 12.
The wind that I cannot do. And Norris is like, during the winter, just the wind blows every day.
It's like
snow doesn't, exactly. Snow does not drop like straight down. It's sideways.
Yeah, in your face.
Yeah. And then when it's not snowing, the wind's blowing like 60 miles an hour. Yeah.
Getting it everywhere. Yeah, I feel like I'm like, I obviously don't do what you do. I don't know if I could do what you do, if I'm being honest. I could have my own family ranch for sure. That's my long-term goal too.
Yeah.
Me and a couple friends have like a really cool idea for one day, but I'm like the girl that is wearing heated socks.
Yeah.
If I'm ready. Sure. Yeah. I'm like not the authentic, like, I respect those people so much, but I'm like heated socks, heated gloves, full face cover. I mean,
like the difference for me in summer when I'm riding, it's like, I'm like, there's no place in the world I'd rather be than like right here.
The dream.
During the winter, I'm like, I wish I was on a beach.
Yeah, or you like see why people move to Arizona in the winter?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
why
Which I'm probably gonna do next winter.
You should.
Like
why
Texas
not work at a ranch in the south in the summer or winter and then switch back?
Snowbird.
Yeah, if you can find like the dual, like a place that lets you do both.
Exactly.
I think that would be really cool, especially if I end up having horses, like put them in winter pasture in Arizona or Texas, maybe even Oklahoma, even though it does get a little colder there, but
better than Montana.
No doubt.
For sure.
I do love it here in the winter because there's less people, but it's rough, especially with horses, because you have to find an indoor that's big enough I don't know. Especially if you're doing what you're doing, it's a different game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it kind of sucks the fun out of things.
It makes you feel like cooler though. You're like, yeah, I'm out here.
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
Like the first day that I was like, yep, this is like
And then you're
what it's
over
all
it.
about. And then after that, I was like,
Why am I here?
This is not what it's all about.
Why am I here right now? I know. I think about like the True West and when people first moved out here, and I met a gal at the dog park. She's older. And she's like, yeah, my dad moved here from Norway, and he's like, he helped cut down the trees to pave the road out here.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, thinking about them only having wood-fired stoves, and a lot of people here still only have wood-fired stoves, but yeah, them actually bearing the conditions and like people dying by frostbite often.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
It's like Hollywood definitely dramatizes it in the shows, but a lot of it's real.
Yeah, I can't say that if I was on like the wagon across, I'd spend one winter here and be like, let's keep going.
I know. So you know that question, people are like, if you could go back any time in history and live there, I always do say like the True West.
Yeah.
But I'm torn because like, would I want to be a cool native gal freaking riding with my boat? I mean,
I think that'd be very cool.
I don't know if the girls actually went to hunt. Probably some of them, but most of them were not. I know that's more dudes, but like the idea of being able to ride bareback and shoot a freaking animal with my bow.
Insane. You could still do that.
Well, I do want to, so I do pack in horses hunting, and I want to get a horse solid enough to be able to shoot off of, bow or like a gun broke horse. Obviously, when you're hunting horses, that's not common, but what if you walk up on a herd and that's your only shot, you can't get down? So I want to be able to do that, but to get to the point to actually be able to like move and shoot your bow.
Yeah.
You see people doing it a lot, Mongolia.
Yeah.
My friend Ellie like is obsessed with the idea of going there and like learning and riding. I'm like, that would be cool. Oh, you know Ellie too.
Yep, that was super cool.
She's a cool gal.
That guy Grant that I worked for went to Mongolia for 2 months.
No way. To learn the horsemanship there or teach it?
Teach it, yeah, because they like have a different idea of horsemanship.
I believe that. I think a lot of cultures do view horses differently. I need to introduce you to this guy named Vern in Paradise Valley. Yeah.
That'd be super cool.
I want to have him on eventually. He's like the best horseman I've ever met.
Yeah.
But he's under the radar. He did work with Buck for 40 years.
Oh, wow.
And he'd be the guy that got on the horses, and Buck would talk about it as he broke a horse. So he's probably a lot like Grant.
Yeah.
Just that old school mentality. Still treats the horses with such respect and kindness.
Definitely.
But he's all about what are their feet doing. And I think that was a different mentality than I grew up, because honestly, I grew up on such broke horses. I never had to think about much.
Yeah.
I could have them in the pasture for 2 months and then go hop on them bareback, and I never got bucked off any of my horses. Like,
that's very nice.
Because they were all so good and broke. But riding here, I ride other people's horses, and a lot of them are not super broke.
Yep.
And it's different. And I'm like, oh crap, I have to learn actually how to ride again in a different way. So Vern has taught me so much, like even about groundwork that I didn't know.
Yeah.
I would always lunge mine before, but really it was just to get their energy out. But his groundwork is probably similar to Grant's. It's more of like that trust building, seeing how you move their feet, seeing if they're listening, getting on the same page before you before you put your foot in the stirrup. Like it's
super, like just as important as anything in the saddle.
Right. It's just as important, and he can like sense if he should get on the horse yet or not too. He's like, I'm not getting on this horse yet. I'm like, how do you know that? I'm like, what?
No, those guys are crazy.
I know. It is like
it blows my mind.
Genuinely is like the coolest gift. I do feel like you can learn parts of it from them, but it is like this like innate ability. I don't get it. I'm like, the first time I watched him, he was like, come over before you ride and like watch me work a horse so you know what we're getting into. I was sitting there like with my hands on the fence, like I was like up on the fence just watching, and I teared up because it was so powerful and cool. And I was like, how is he doing that? I don't know. It's something different about those types of guys.
They're all so cool. Like there's the coolest dudes in the world.
Humble, funny, full of stories. Vern guided hunting for a long time too, and I feel like he has a million stories about that. But yeah, I don't know. Just cool dudes. I do want to hear more about your brand. You said you were going to touch on kind of the why behind it. I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, so the whole idea with like Lonesome West started because I, along with I think a lot of other people, got kind of tired of seeing these like brands based out of California or New York City starting these Western brands and contributing nothing to, the people that live and work it every day. So the whole idea behind Lonesome West is to donate. We're going to start with 10% of all the money we make to working cowboys and cowgirls for like hospital bills or vet bills or mental health help and stuff like that, in hopes that these brands will do the same.
Take note.
Take note, exactly, because it is like a super tough lifestyle, and these dudes, like, I'm on social media, so I'm not talking about people like me, but like sure. These guys out in Montana and Oregon and everywhere, that get injured or whatever and don't have the money to afford a hospital bill. And instead of working and putting money on their table, they're working to pay off a bill that they got.
Wow. I think that if you don't already have this, when you launch your website, you should have a foundation button so people can just, okay, sick.
Like a donate.
And when you do get that up, I will attach it in the YouTube comments, because I'm sure that there are going to be some people watching that are like, I've never heard of that one.
Yeah.
Because that is very different.
Yeah.
People do GoFundMes and stuff, but I've never heard of like an actual brand standing behind the everyday Americans that are making it happen and putting the beef on their table and working the hard hours and getting up at 3 a.m. and not ever complaining about it.
Yeah.
It's just their way of life, and they're hard workers.
Totally. And
what a cool idea, Will.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And
it's like a very selfless way to start a brand.
Yeah, I'm super passionate about it, and I want to see it do really well.
I think it will. I have a good feeling about that.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
That's amazing. Yeah, you definitely, I feel like, need to do a foundation or like a nonprofit LLC or something to go along with Lonesome West, unless it can do it with it. But that way people can like make a large donation if they feel like led to. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited about it.
Wow, I'm excited too. I don't think I've ever heard anything like that be done.
Yeah, and like the other thing is like, we're gonna keep it super authentic, not in a way that like, because we have to market to the masses, right? So it's not necessarily like the most cowboy clothes you've ever seen in your life, but it's not going to be like somebody holding the bottom of a rope with like their loop like up here. So like
their spurs on backwards.
Yeah, exactly. So you can wear it and be like, know that you're not going to look like an idiot.
Yeah. What kind of apparel will you sell?
So we're starting with like hats like that and t-shirts and sweatshirts, but we're going to move to like pearl snaps and jeans and jackets and stuff like that.
That's so exciting.
And then, who knows what else?
Who knows what else? Maybe some like felts or straws or.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
I'm hoping to use, have you been to West Trends? I'm hoping to like talk to him about maybe like we don't get any of the profit or anything, but have like it set up so people can order like a felt or something.
So cool.
He makes it, sends it out, gives business to him, which I doubt he really is struggling. But
he's not struggling.
Yeah.
I was telling Josh earlier about that store.
Yeah.
Because that was the only time I had to come out here.
Yeah.
Well, I had another shoot somewhere near here.
There's no other reason. Yeah.
Well, there was like that, and then the shoot at Jeremy's house.
Oh yeah.
Ranch, sorry.
Jeremy Richardson. He's going to be here in 2 days.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, he's going to work
here.
here.
We had a shoot out there. I think Olivia was doing it. And so we were like in this area. That was like in the middle of the winter. I think I even told you, I was like, I just drove through where you live in the winter. Like, how do you, like, I would say, but it was messy.
Yeah, no, it's horrible out here.
I've only been like scared-ish twice on the road out here because I typically don't drive if it's like, but I had no place to stay out here. So I was like, I have to get back to Livingston.
Yeah.
sketchy.
Yeah.
We were going 20 miles an hour.
The most scared I've ever been was actually driving back from Livingston to here because for some reason my truck, the wiring doesn't have running lights.
Oh, good.
So at night, I just had, it's like a black, like you can't see my trailer, my horse trailer. And I was trailering my horse back at like 8 o'clock, snowstorm. The wind was ripping in Livingston.
As always.
Yeah. I was going over the pass and like semis were like, yeah.
The pass is scary.
I was like sweating and like white knuckling not looking at anybody.
Just praying.
Yeah.
Lord, please help me and my horse not to die.
Yeah.
Not today.
Uh-huh.
No, so many semis flip over on the pass and literally they shut it down often.
Yeah. So there was a sign that was like, if you have a trailer, pull into Livingston.
It was like, get off the highway now.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm not staying
I can't right now.
Yeah.
I
was like,
have to get back.
Yeah.
I have work at 5 a.m.
Uh-huh.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited about your brand. That it's going to be really cool, and we'll definitely link everything if you have anything up about it for people that want to know more. So kind of the premise of this podcast, which you probably knew, is like talking about finding the gold in life's grittiest moments. So the gold and the grit, hence the name. Is there a moment or memory or life lesson that stands out to you about like, this was probably one of the hardest parts of my life, but then it ended up being something you learned or at least grew from that you can think of?
Definitely. I mean, in all my years, that ranch in Idaho was the best place I've ever worked and also the hardest, because you are in the middle of nowhere, no service. You're on a horse by yourself most of the time. And usually the horses were pretty green. So like I was going through a pretty dark time, I would say, in my life. I had just broken up with a girl that I was in a relationship with for 4 years. And then I moved out to like this ranch, didn't know what I was doing. Wasn't surrounded by friends, which I've made, some of my best friends there in the entire world. But yeah, I was like super sad and, I just kind of had to get through it. And like, that was the first time I ever sat with myself. And I like really like, wasn't, anytime I was sad, I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go hang out with friends or like get my mind off of things. So I had to just like be with my thoughts, which was terrifying. But that's where I really learned a lot from horses, in terms of like patience and, just really letting go of everything that I knew.
Wow. I feel like it is so easy for us. I talked about this earlier with my friend Jenny, to distract ourselves when we're hurting. Yeah. And like when you had no other option, you probably didn't have service. No. You maybe had a little bit of alcohol, but like it wasn't like you could go to the bar and get a bunch of drinks. Definitely. You didn't have like other chicks to like distract yourself with. You didn't have, like you said, your best friends. That is so cool to like almost be forced to face your hurt and pain and actually heal the right way. Yeah. Instead of distracting yourself with like everyday comforts, you like had to like be like, okay, sick, I'm by myself with this horse. And like, and most people probably watching this know, horses can really pick up on how you're feeling. And sometimes it's to your benefit, because if you're having a hard day, they almost give you a little bit of grace. Yeah. But other times they don't like that. Yeah. And they're like, hey, you're not all here. I can tell your mind's somewhere else. You seem anxious, you seem sad. Like, I'm not gonna like really work with you until you have your head straight. So you're almost forced to like work through it for the sake of your safety, especially if it's more of a green broke horse and not a solid horse. Like, that is honestly one of the coolest experiences, I think. Yeah. To like make yourself handle it the right way. Yeah. And I would say that like, the highest suicide rate is in Montana. It is. And the highest, I think, alcohol consumption is in Montana. I believe it. Which is not surprising because, if you are in the middle of nowhere and the sun hasn't come out for 3 weeks,
and something bad happens, like it is really easy to get down on yourself and just life. And so that's been something that I've been working on, is just, sitting with myself and all that.
Yeah. Well, it's cool because not that all men are this way, but I think a lot of times men would rather not talk about hard things or like process things to learn the lesson because it's easier to not talk about it.
Yeah.
But something about you that I've learned even just by being your friend is like, you are really wise and wisdom comes from experience and hard experience. But like, even just chatting with you briefly the other day about like stuff that I've been through, you being able to like put into words and relate back and be like, no, I know how that feels. And then X, Y, and Z about it. I'm like, and the word self-aware is such like a taboo silly word right now. But like, there is a self-awareness that comes with like processing things the right way and talking about them. And like, I think it shouldn't be this thing that's shied away from because there's so much to be learned in those moments. Yeah.
I think I've lived like a lot of different lives.
I feel that. I really feel that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and not most of them were pretty bad. So, yeah.
But I
get a lot of experiences.
Sometimes it takes doing stuff the wrong way to be like, hey.
Definitely.
Don't want to do that again.
That has been my life, is basically like messing up and then
learning from
altering course. Yeah.
But at least you learned from it and you didn't continue down the same cycle or path, because those people that don't get out of those cycles end up ruining their lives and looking back when they're 55, 60, alone in their house drinking, being like, if I could go back and not repeat those cycles for 40 years, they would.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
But it takes like, hopefully one day when you're a dad, you're able to talk to your sons or daughters and be like, listen, this is what I did. It doesn't get you anywhere.
Right.
And we don't obviously listen to our parents always. I wish I had.
They're always right.
Not always. But I think in a lot of instances, they have that self-experience of failure. And they're like, dude, you can learn it the hard way like I did, or you can actually like not make the same mistake.
Definitely.
Like, I know that looks fun, or that looks like it'd be the better option, but it's not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good wisdom and advice. Thanks for sharing that.
Of course.
I also feel like that ties back into like the piece you shared on wanting to donate to like mental health of people in the same industry. Yeah.
I think it's really, really important. And especially in, like you said, the Western and cowboy world, and just dudes in general. Like, I don't want to talk about my feelings or like whatever. And it's a super toxic rabbit hole that like you just suppress and suppress and suppress. And then all of a sudden it explodes, which I've had to deal with a bit. So yeah, like I said, learn from it. I think it's really important, talking to people, like talking about your feelings, talking to a professional is the most important thing you can do.
Were you able to find a good outlet for that? Like, if you ever went to therapy, did you do like the online stuff? Did you find someone in person or?
In person.
Cool. I think it's better in person too.
Yeah, definitely. I was at a point that like, I had to. There's no other option. And not like, I'm a naturally very happy person. So when I'm not happy, I'm like really sad.
You're in a bad place.
Yeah. And I'm the happiest I've ever been for the last 5 years that I've been doing this. Most days. Except during the winter.
Except when res tests you.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, brother. Yeah, winters are rough here. I like realized that I didn't understand the whole gambling thing because out east it's not.
I know. Yeah.
A thing. I think it was Josh that explained to me back in the day when they would go to bars, they'd all have a poker game, which makes sense. You look at the old Westerns, that is a reoccurring scene. And that became more of like a slot machine thing over time because of regulations and then making money. Yeah. But I think that is like also something that's sad about out west is like when it is so windy or cold or dreary outside, it's like people find outlets in like random things.
Definitely.
Like drinking or and it's harder. I think it's harder to talk about things, especially as a dude, because it seems like you're being weak emotionally. Yeah. But in reality, I think it's the strongest thing a man can do is be honest about his feelings. and work through them.
For sure.
And not have something in their life that creates toxic relationships or failed relationships or, I think like you're saying, someone said something about like, my small group, actually, she's actually a therapist, but how she talks to her clients about like when you bottle things up, it's like Coke and Mentos.
Yeah, exactly.
You can put the lid on tight and like shove it down in there, but at some point it's going to explode. For
sure.
Some point it's still going to explode.
Yeah. It's usually not very good.
No, it's not. It typically like makes a giant mess and hurts a lot of people in the process.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think that is like a lot of wisdom, and to hear like, you hate this, but to hear like an actual working cowboy say that is refreshing, because I think it's not the culture. Yeah,
I would say that like what really like forced me into doing it is I did hurt like a lot of people, I think. Just with like, what's the word? Not attachment. Like what's like the opposite of attachment?
So it's like anxious attachment or avoidant attachment?
Yeah.
Like you kind of push away?
Yeah. Yeah. And whether it was friends or relationships or whatever. And I was like,
Because it's, okay, so this is kind of, I've been doing some deep diving. We probably already talked about this, but not on camera. Typically for men, but not always, they're typically more avoidant. And the reason is like the second someone gets close enough to see that mess inside, it's much easier to not deal with it and push them away and create that distance and space, because why talk about it if you haven't dealt with it yourself? And it almost threatens that like safety bubble you built around it.
Totally.
And so like someone's getting close to this like secret part of your heart that you've never let anyone in. The easy option is just to push them away and then like create distance so they don't see it. So it's not like something you have to deal with.
Definitely.
It is like the easier option, I think. But
for sure.
But then it does sometimes hurt people. Which sucks.
Yeah, most times.
Yeah. But that's so cool and good for you for like noticing it, taking note of it, and holding yourself accountable.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Someone would call that growth.
Yeah.
Someone would call that maturity. That's great.
Yeah.
I hope there's some men listening right now that are like, maybe I should do that. Maybe I should do that. Doesn't mean you can't enjoy beverages and work on yourself.
Which, like, I'm not trying to say that I don't drink or anything like that. Yeah. Because I definitely
We were just comparing it with like drinking and not ignoring, you know?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Doesn't mean you can't do both in a wise, responsible way, but
exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a question. Well, before I end it with my last question, is there anything else you feel like is relevant or that you kind of want to share about your life or brand or anything like that's on your heart?
Yeah, I would just say for like anybody watching this, like I think the most important thing in life, I come from like a pretty money-driven family who are awesome, like the best people in the world. That, you know, I was talking to my dad like a couple days ago, and he was always like, do not like chase, like, he's like, work is work and fun is fun, and those two do not go together. Like, and you know, that's what he told me my entire life. And, you know, I did it anyways. But we were having a conversation and he was like, yeah, I was completely wrong. Like, disregard everything I told you about that. Like, the stress and side effects of living, like working and doing stuff you don't necessarily enjoy comes back in your later years. And he was like, you're doing the exact thing that I should have done. And like, so yeah, I would greatly push people to, you know, do whatever. If you feel like you're in a place that you're not happy with what you're doing or anything like that, like, it's never too late to switch it up.
Start
You
over.
know? Yep.
It's amazing advice. And I love that he was able to circle back and say, you know what, son? I'm glad you didn't take my advice.
Yeah. No, exactly.
And that you did what you loved.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So yeah, it's like the best thing I've ever done is get out of that like
Rat race.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like chasing money and not like what you think you're made to do and for, it does like have a long-term effect on you too.
Which there are those like really lucky people out there that enjoy what they're doing and make money. I'm just not one of those people. Yeah.
I think you will be.
Yeah.
I think that your brand will be successful, especially because it's not focused on yourself.
Yeah. That was a big thing too. Yeah.
That's so cool. What a cool relationship you have with your dad too, that he's able to come to you and be like, all right, son, you're right.
Yeah, no, my parents are like my best friends in the world. Yeah,
Are they
so
still
cool.
at their East Coast still?
Yeah, they live like just north of Boston now.
Oh, sick. They're in Mass. Massachusetts is kind of cool. I have a lot of family there.
Yeah, I love it.
Southborough is where some of my family is. Bridgewater.
Yeah, they live in
all around.
Newburyport,
Okay.
just like an hour north of Boston.
Okay. That's so cool. Needham is another family. Anyways.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
I think that is going to actually hit some people that maybe are making some life decisions and choices or trying to figure out their lives like most of us are. And they're like, you know what? Yeah. And there's like a way of things working out too. Like, yeah, you might be kind of broke for a little bit. You might be eating not the food that you would prefer to eat, but like it has a long-term payoff.
The benefit, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. If your heart is fulfilled and you're like, this is what I'm made to do, it's better than having a ton of money in your bank account. Maybe to some people, but
yeah, definitely.
to others, they're like, nah, I'd rather have a lot of money. I don't care about that.
I envy those people, honestly. I'm like, why did I not like math or something?
I hate math.
I do too. Yeah.
Math and science were not my strong suits. I almost went into veterinary science, but I'm like, I'm bad at math and science. This won't work out.
Yeah.
I probably will not get into this program. So I did broadcast journalism instead, and here we are. Recording a podcast in a barn, which I think is way more fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Than anything else.
For sure.
We have some really cool podcasts coming up. We're traveling to Washington State and maybe to Tampa.
Oh, nice.
Some other like cool places. So like honestly, the idea of being able to travel to tell stories, the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Yep, and then we have a few ideas of like doing history of Montana segments and like going to Anaconda View up to Helena, like kind of traveling around talking about the places. And I think that stuff is fun.
Yeah. Have you ever seen like Montana, Backroads of Montana? On
it's like HBO Max or something?
No, it's like, what's it on? Do you know? PBS. Such a good show.
Okay, I need to do my homework on that.
For sure.
So then I can figure out which places that they've been that would be cool to cover too. Yeah, I'm a big history girl. Like in college when you have to take a prereq, I took a history class. Ran into my professor like semesters later and he's like, and Christian. I'm like, how the heck do you remember my name? I'm like, you've had so many students. He's like, I looked for you on my class roster every single semester after because I thought for sure you were a history major. He's like, you were the most engaged and like active like question asker. And I was like, well, that's why I did broadcast journalism. Like I love asking questions and I do love history, but honestly, I'm like, maybe I should have gone history major, but like, what would I have done with that?
Yeah, right.
Being like a teacher.
Yeah, my mom majored in history.
She did?
And she's now a teacher.
Oh, okay. That's like the outlet I could have done, but I don't like being in one building all day.
Yeah.
I don't thrive in that. I like to be out and about, so I don't think I would have done well in a school.
Yeah.
I don't think I could have done it. Plus, like, I don't know, when you have like bad students, I think it would have like hurt my feelings.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm too soft for that.
I hate school.
Yes,
so
yes.
I would not want to.
I did not do well in public school at all. And like, hopefully one day if I have kids, like the idea of if they want to be homeschooled at least with my friends and family, like.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Anyways, off topic, but history would be a really fun thing to like go around and do. I'll have to get the name of that show later from you again.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is my typical last question for all my guests.
Nice.
If Will could go back in time and look Will in the eyes at any given age and give yourself one piece of advice from what you know now, what would you say to yourself?
Oh man. I'd say a lot of things, but I think like mostly it would be, like don't stress the things that are out of your control, because that was a big factor in my life that, was always stressed and like about things that I had zero control over. And once I kind of, which I still do occasionally,
Same.
but that helped me a lot. It's just like the things that I have no hand on. It just is what it is.
Let it ride. See where it leads.
Yep. Usually I'm a firm believer that if you're on the path that you're supposed to be on, then doors open.
Yes. Yes.
And
so good.
Yeah. Then the alternative, they close, which I experienced. Yeah. Quite a bit.
And then it's like hard to figure out which door is like propped open that you have to bust down.
Yeah.
That's the part that I have a hard time with. 'Cause I'm like, sometimes it is on us to like work hard and make it happen. But sometimes it's like, okay, this is a closed door and I'm not meant to go through it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like, which one is like the one that you have to keep knocking on or like put some shoulder into?
Know.
Still figuring that out too.
Yeah.
That's a good piece of advice. At what age would you have told yourself that?
Like middle school, probably.
That's when things start to get real.
Yeah.
You're like not a kid anymore.
Yeah. Everything is stressful.
Middle school, I feel like it's hard for most people.
That was like the worst years of my life. Yeah.
That's probably, I always think like if I could go back and change my life and like start over from a certain age, it probably would have been like 12 too.
Yeah.
Did think like completely different.
Yeah. I would also say, I've lived a very unconventional life, and that was really stressful for me up until like 25, where I was like, all my friends are like, have like real jobs and are married and have kids. And I'm so glad that I didn't, settle for things I didn't want to do. Yeah.
Sorry, I looked off camera at a friend because she's at that point in her life where she's like feeling that way. But maybe this is also really good for people to hear that are in their early or mid 20s and they're like, hey, everyone's doing this thing. That's not where I'm at right now. And like they're putting a lot of pressure on themselves to like find a spouse. I don't know why I said that, spice. Find a spouse. Yeah. Get married, have kids. I mean, I honestly sometimes get in that headspace of like, dude, I'm behind. I should be married by now. I should have my own homestead. Like, what am I doing? But it's like you said, the doors will open in the right time. Like, I'm a big also believer of like things will work out perfectly if you stay on the right path and you keep on doing the things that you're meant to do, and God will work it out.
Exactly.
It's like trusting in that instead of ourselves.
Which, takes some time to let go a little bit.
That freaking firm grip on control is hard to let release sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
But it's nice when you do, because you're like, oh, I wasn't actually holding anything in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
You like open your hands, you're like, oh, they're empty.
Yeah.
I actually wasn't doing anything by worrying.
Yeah.
Or trying to control it in the first place.
Definitely.
That's so good. Thank you for sharing about your life and
thank you.
Your wisdom. And I'm so excited for your brand. And I'll be a big supporter when it launches.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you.
And we'll go look at your different animals.
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
The lambs, dogs, horses, cows.
Do you ever sing them songs?
The lambs?
Any of the animals?
No, they would run away from me. Nobody wants to hear that.
I sing my animal songs sometimes just to calm down to the spicy horse. Because it makes them so confused as what you're doing that they like can't be bad for a second.
Yeah.
Gives you some time.
I talk to them a lot.
Yeah.
In like baby voices and
we'll mic you up when we're over at your animals. We'll get that on camera, don't worry. Cool.
Yeah. Nice.
Yay. Thanks.